You've got 2 empty halves of coconut and you're banging them together. We have a knight who say, Knee.
Welcome back to the Knights of Knee. I'm Jordan, and today we're going to go through the battle report that I just had with my friend Tony here. And this is using the experimental all-peasant list. Obviously it's not all peasants, but it's really peasant heavy. Everything has to do with peasants. We have 2 units of 50 men-at-arms, we got 2 units of 12 bowmen. We have a knight with empathy on foot, we have a damsel on foot, we got 2 trebuchets, and we have a unit of, I think it's 24 plus the reliquary, so 30 battle pilgrims. And the only thing that's not that is the mandatory BSB. He's on a mount and all that. But there's a video on that. So then, the next thing is we have Tony's army. If you look at his army, from right to left, he's got some skinks. He's got, I think it's a salamander. Then he's got the stegodon with the giant crossbow. He's got the carnosaur, and that has a special character with, I think it is the anti-hero blade. Then he has some, I can't remember what they're called now, Saurus warriors with hand weapons and shields. He's got a troglodyte. He's got another salamander over there. He's got a bastildon with the giant gem, not the snakes. He's got 30 Saurus warriors with spears and shields, and he's got in that unit of 12 skinks in the middle with javelins. They all have javelin or blowpipes. I think everybody has blowpipes. He has a skink priest. He's level 2, and I'm pretty sure he's Lore Heavens. He is Lore Heavens, yeah, now I'm thinking about it. Because he took him and he got a couple spells. I think one was Chain Lightning, and the other one was Harmonic Convergence. And I ended up with Lore Beasts, and it had level 3 with Licensed Wild Form, Pan's Pelt. I don't remember what the other spells were. But we rolled off, and Tony ended up going first. The first thing he did was throw fire on one of my blocks of men-at-arms, and it ended up killing just 4 people is all it did out of the 50 that were there. 51 with the character on foot that I put in there. And they took a panic check, and they passed that one. In this picture, you'll see I vanguarded up a little bit on my left. Not sure why, but these pictures are out of order, so that unit is the one that lost the 3 wounds. The Brettonian Pegasus Knights did their work. I made a lot of mistakes in this game. I've never played all peasants quite like I have here. You'll see here in this picture, this is where I ended up deploying my Knights of the Realm. The Grail Reliquary is behind them because I figured I would zoom up or get a turn 1 charge with the Knights, and they would take their place, and I was just far too aggressive. I should have left the BSB out of the unit. I should have put those 2 units 50 closer together somewhere if I could have, and then had the Reliquary do its own thing on the side. There's just a lot of things with running this many peasants and men-at-arms in general that I wasn't anticipating or I wasn't thinking of. And here's one of them. I just had on my right flank these 2 trebuchets being protected by a unit of 12 bowmen. That was dumb. I should have just put them in the center. I don't know why I put them on the right flank. I think at the time I was thinking maybe I could draw his army that way, which it did. It drew a stegodon and 12 skinks, 10 skinks that way, but it was just dumb. It wasn't worth it. I should have put the reliquary over there to hold down that corner because, especially if you're playing peasant heavy like I am, those trebuchets are going to be what's doing all the damage, and the rest of your army is just trying to stick around. If there was a way to, like Licensed Wild Form is a great one, to increase the damage output, that would be great. As you see here, what Tony did is he moved everybody up on the right side, his left, my right, to come and get those trebuchets. Moved his carnosaur up, kind of walked up his warriors there with hand weapons. The forest that he's in there is the one that does a d6 strength 4 hits every turn if you're in it. If you end your turn in there and your movement phase in there. So he decides he's just got to get the heck out of there. He moves some skinks back with his lord, or his wizard. His lord's on the carnosaur. Moves everybody else up. My forest that one of my blocks of 50 is the Venom Thicket. So it gives me poison attacks, but every time I move, everybody has to take a dangerous terrain test. So I decided right there and then never to move that unit, and that really hurt me. I should have just dealt with it. Turn 1, make the charge against his salamander that was directly across from the knights, and I just obliterate that salamander, which is good. It's what I wanted. so I wouldn't get flank charged by his warriors there and then his Bastillodon. But this is a total mistake. I should have just hung back with the knights, or not put the BSB in with those knights and just had him walking around and providing his leadership and reroll benefit to the men-at-arms. Moved up my units, cast Wyson's Wild Form. I don't even know why I did. He couldn't charge me successfully the following turn, even if he wanted to. I should have just passed on this magic phase. Here's the results of that charge and my overrun. I think I'm just out of sight of those skinks with blowpipes and the character there, the hero there. Even if I wasn't, I think I was, but even if I wasn't, he's not going to charge me this side because I'm going to win that combat. And here's the overall, after my turn, his movement. He moves everybody up. That trebuchet is just not going to do well. Centering all of his troops. If you look on the far left, what I've done is I have moved my Pegasus Knights up on that hill so I can get a charge on either his skinks or someone else over there. Here's a top-down view of it, where everything is. I have a really solid center, but just not having that reroll, which is so important for men-at-arms since they're leadership 5, and not having any nearby knights except for the one that's got the virtue of empathy. It's a bad move. It's a bad idea. It just, as the game goes on, if we kept playing before it ended, I end up getting smashed. So, I throw out some bowmen, and they kill some of the skink warriors. And I think that's all that happens. Is really the trebuchets fire and either miss or don't do anything across the board. Just a lot of whiffs. And then I charge his blowpipes over here with my Pegasus Knights. That's an easy win. I mean, I think they're toughness 3. And the skinks aren't, especially blowpipes, aren't made to take that kind of charge. But that's what these Pegasus Knights are here, to divert attention and get rid of things. I think they would have been better served on the other side of the table. And then I charge my block, I think there's 47 left now, of men-at-arms and my knight on foot into his Saurus warriors with spears. His little skink priest, as you see there, hopped out of the other blowpipes the turn before so that he wouldn't die in the charge. He's trying to hide him and keep him alive, to keep casting chain lightning, which is a good move. And I think, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I can win this combat. I've got more people. I've got better attacks. and what happens, you'll see. So this knight unit, I swift reform, and I back up a little bit. Back up 4 inches to get out of the Bastillodon. I figure it's better to be charged by the Troglodon than it is the Bastillodon. He spent his turn turning them to face him. That woods there that he's in is constantly dealing wounds to his Bastillodon. Even though it's only strength 4, the Bastillodon's toughness 5, he just keeps taking wounds. And then I think, I'm stubborn on an 8 with hatred. I'll charge and hopefully get, I think I needed a 7 with my Battle Pilgrims, and I get a 9 and I make it. And I'm thinking, I'll just sit here and I'll hold him up the whole game with this unit, because this is normally what it does. That stubborn 8 is awesome, especially since you don't need a knight, but I really needed my BSB for that. I just leave my big block of 50 men-at-arms with the damsel back there. If they move, they're going to take, I think it's 14 dangerous terrain tests, and I just don't want to have to lose that many people, potentially, before the combat. And I think I can wait him out, or get his Carnosaur in there and charge him in the flank. And this turn is the turn I start throwing my trebuchets at his Carnosaur. And what happens is, I hit the Carnosaur with one trebuchet, miss with another one misfires. The one that hits the character on a 5 and 6, who's his general, and he has no ward save, and he dies. And we are playing, in this mission we ended up playing, I think it's Blood and Glory. So it's the one where you have banners where your general's 2 and then every other banner adds 1, and once you hit your threshold you lose. That's all he needed to lose, was his general to die. And at the time I didn't even realize that's all it would take. And I hit him, he died. I win the game on, I think it's the top of turn 3. And that was it. So what we ended up doing is we kept playing afterwards just to see what would happen. And the Knights do great. The Pegasus Knights do great. I kill the Troglodon. I think I kill the Bastillodon. My peasant bowmen, I think, all die, but in one turn, that both unit, the unit of 30